Okay.
All right. So good morning again. My name is Tangela Green. I am the Parent and Family Engagement Specialist, as well as the McKinney-Vento and Foster Care Liaison and the Volunteer Coordinator for College and County School District. So I wear many hats. And welcome to our McKinney-Vento presentation.
Okay.
All right.
Can you see it?
We can.
Okay.
Just need you to go to the next screen.
Okay.
Okay. So this is our icebreaker. In one word, tell us how you're feeling today. Whatever that may be. Here's some examples on the screen, but I can start and I'll say that today I am sleepy. I attended a conference last week from Tuesday to Friday. Then on Friday, I have a new grandbaby. So he's 4 months old. So I kept him from Friday to Sunday. So today I'm tired. I don't see tired up there, but I'm tired, sleepy, and all of the above.
Everyone, feel free to use the chat to respond for the icebreaker.
Content. I love that. Thank you guys. And you can go to the next screen, Monique. So our objectives today is to understand the McKinney-Vento Act and who it protects, to ensure the educational rights and protections for children and youth who are experiencing homelessness, and to strengthen collaboration between organizations, agencies, and schools. And why does it matter? It matters because homelessness disrupts education, stability, and the well-being of our students. And collaboration ensures students have access to learning and support. So that is why it matters. We do it for our children, and they most definitely matter. Yes. So, what is McKinney-Vento? The McKinney-Vento Act is a federal law that seeks to ensure the educational stability, enrollment, attendance, and success of our homeless children and youth in school. It is designed to address the challenges that homeless students face when enrolling, attending, and succeeding in school. It applies to all public schools and districts. That's all, not just in South Carolina, but around the nation. It applies to all public schools. Each district must designate a homeless education liaison, and the goal is to remove barriers when facing enrollment, attendance, and success. So, and McKinney-Vento is an unfunded mandate. So it is mandated by federal law, but they don't give you any money to do anything with it. They do have a McKinney-Vento grant that each district can apply for. And if you are awarded the grant, it is based on the number of students that you have identified as McKinney-Vento in the previous year. So, and that's how they fund the grant. So the numbers for the 23-24 school year, and this is the latest numbers that we have, over 1.2 million students nationwide were identified as McKinney-Vento. Okay, next. And for South Carolina, here's a little snapshot. In 23-24, we identified 16,245 students as McKinney-Vento. Over half of those students were doubled up. That means they're living with friends, relatives, whoever, and it's not their actual home. They have their names not on the lease, their names not on the mortgage. It could be even be mom, dad, whoever, but anybody who can tell you that you have to get out at any time, you could be considered McKinney-Vento, and that's a doubled up situation. 14% in shelters, 10% in hotels, 8% unsheltered. So as I said, over half of those were reported to be doubled up, sharing the housing of others, and it has to be due to the loss of your home or some hardship that you can't afford to have your own home. Okay, next. So this is another county by county highlights, and this is also 23-24. You might be able to pull it up and you can see in your county how many students were identified in that particular school district as McKinney-Vento. So in 23-24, Colleton County identified, I think it was 154 students. According to the State Department, they feel like all districts are under identifying. And I know it's a lot because a lot of people are embarrassed. We have families who are scared to say that they are facing those type challenges because they're afraid that DSS is going to get involved. But that's not our job. Our job at the school district level is to make sure that these children are in school and have as much stability as they possibly can. Now, if there is a reason for us to call DSS, then yeah, that might be the case. But most of the time, a lot of times when they're in hotels, they don't want to tell us that because they feel, I guess, like we're going to call DSS on them. But that, like I said, that's not our reason. Our reason is to make sure that the children are in school and the children have a chance at being successful and actually graduating from high school. Okay, next. Okay, who is considered homeless? So under the McKinney-Vento Act, any child or youth who lacks a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence, those students are considered homeless. Next. Okay, and these are the definitions. So fixed means they do not have a home that is stationary, permanent, and not subject to change. So if they're not in a fixed household, then that means they are homeless. Regular, one that they are staying on a nightly basis. That's their home. Adequate, one that is sufficient for meeting the physical and psychological needs typically met in home environments. They have electricity, they have running water, they don't have holes in the walls and the floors, the windows aren't busted out, they have an actual bathroom inside the home that is able to be used. So if they don't have that, they're not considered, that's not considered adequate. Okay, so who is eligible? Who is eligible for McKinney-Vento? This is done on a case-by-case basis. Everyone's situation is not the same, of course. So if they are doubled up, which means, again, they are sharing the housing of other people due to the loss of housing, not because they want to be there, not because they have a deal and they're going to pay 50-50, and that's just the way that they plan to live, that wouldn't be considered McKinney-Vento. But if they have lost housing, they're dealing with economic hardship or any other similar reason of house sharing, because they just can't afford to go anywhere else, then that's considered doubled up. If they're staying in a hotel motel, not because they want to be there, but they lack adequate alternative accommodations. And if they're sheltered, living in some type of emergency shelter, could be domestic violence or any type of transitional shelters, they are eligible for McKinney-Vento. Unsheltered, living in cars, parks, public spaces, abandoned buildings, and any other similar settings. Our migratory children, most of them qualify as McKinney-Vento because a lot of them live in the migratory camps. Unaccompanied homeless youth, and that can be from 4 or 5 to 21, I think, is the age, and they are not in the custody of parent or guardian. We've talked a lot in our McKinney-Vento meetings about the age thing, but they tell us that unaccompanied youth can be considered from pre-K kindergarten through 12th grade. Okay, some of the causes: lack of affordable housing, which is a big issue for us. We get lots of calls asking if we can refer them somewhere in reference to housing. There was once upon a time when we had ARP funds, which were COVID relief funds that we were awarded from the State Department, that we could help with emergency housing, but that has since gone away. But we still have people calling, asking about it, but unfortunately, we can't assist with that. And then it's difficult to refer them out because a lot of people who used to also help with those type things they no longer have access to those funds as well. We have runaways, which most of our unaccompanied youth are, some of them are runaways. Some of them parents just put them out and they have nowhere to go. Low income, unemployment, lack of skills, health and mental health problems, domestic abuse, lack of a safe and stable environment, physical, sexual abuse by parent or guardian, alcohol, drug addiction, and any other type of natural disasters. Okay, some of the common signs: transportation and attendance problems to and from school. These students have erratic attendance. Some of them just don't come at all. They're always tardy, numerous absences. You can't call the parents because the phone's off or they have a new phone number. They avoid participating in after-school activities. Lack of continuity in education, so they enroll from school to school to school. Lack of records, birth certificates, immunization records, and gaps in skill development. So our job, okay, we can go to the next one. The most important thing for us is the transportation piece and making sure that they are immediately enrolled in school. But these are some more common signs: the poor hygiene, not being prepared for class, and some of those, the students may not be McKinney-Vento, it might be some other things going on. But these are just some of the signs that we try to pay attention to and try to find out what is actually going on with the student. Referral and collaboration process. So we want to identify our families and youth who meet the McKinney-Vento criteria. Complete or share referrals with the school liaison. So if you are aware of a family, or if you're working with a family in your particular district, the family may not be aware of the services that the schools can provide as far as McKinney-Vento. So if you know that that family is going through some things, I did share with Monique, and she'll share with you a list of the liaisons in different counties. You can reach out to that McKinney-Vento liaison and make them aware of this family that's in their district, and that liaison can possibly reach out to the family to see what we can do to assist. The liaison verifies the eligibility and coordinates support. So we're not here to judge. They always tell us to take them at their word, and that's what we do initially, because our main focus is to get the students in school. So if they come in and whatever they share with us, we have people who say, well, that's not true, somebody else said this, but that's not what we go by. We go by whatever the parent or guardian or the unaccompanied youth, whatever they tell us, we work with that first, and then we work backwards. Once we get them in school, then we may start trying to verify different information. But prior to that, we want the students in school. So we want to maintain communication and remember that collaboration ensures consistent services. So collaboration in action. So sharing relevant information with your partners, different organizations, align service plans to avoid duplication. So we don't all want to be doing the same thing when we could just have one person working on that particular service and sharing that information or that plan with other partners. Refer our families early before a crisis escalates. I know that's easier said than done, because a lot of times we don't have any place to refer them to. We're just trying to work with them. And I mean, it's difficult, especially the housing piece. So engaging in joint case meetings or resource fairs. So that's a great thing. Networking, finding out who does what, how we can get together to help families. Rights of homeless children. So these students have the right to remain at their school of origin. So the school of origin is the school where the school that the youth or child attended when they were permanently housed. So if they were attending, I'm in Colleton County, if they were attending Hendersonville Elementary when they became displaced and they moved, and so now they are in Bells Elementary, which is a different zone, that student or that parent has the right to keep their student in their school of origin, because we want to make things as normal as possible for that student. We try not to cause a lot of change if it's unnecessary. So we have to provide transportation for that student from their new address to their school of origin. The school of residency is where the student is now after they have been displaced. Our job is immediate enrollment, so we have to expedite the process. Without birth certificate, without proof of residence, without immunization, it's our job to get that student in school. And like I said, work on all that other stuff on the back end. Liaison social workers and school counselors of the unaccompanied youth can assist with enrollment, school selection, and dispute resolution. We've recently found out if students don't have, or if parents don't have birth certificates, that as a liaison, that we can go to the office and pick up the birth certificate for that particular family. I don't know, they're supposed to be getting us some type of documentation that we can take with us, because I'm sure we can't just walk in there and say, I came to get a birth certificate for Sally Mae, and they're just going to give it to us. So they're supposed to be getting some type of documentation that we can take with us, a form or whatever to take with us to be able to do that. I'll go back to the school of origin. I've had students who have been living in, well, I had a student here in Colleton County. They were displaced and moved to Charleston County, but mom was adamant about keeping her student at Colleton County High School. So we had to coordinate with Charleston County with the transportation piece, and they met at the border somewhere. I can't even remember where it was, but we had to coordinate that. And then what we did was each paid like half of whatever that transportation cost was. So the two buses just met at the line. Also had another case in Hampton County, same thing. We paid half, Hampton County paid half, but we made sure that the students stayed because they wanted to stay in Hampton County, but they were displaced to Colleton. So it is our job to make sure that the students can stay at their school of origin if at all possible. Of course, if they move to Greenville and want to stay in Colleton, that's not in the best interest of the student. And 9 times out of 10, that won't happen. But otherwise, we try to keep them in their school of origin. Okay, next. Again, transportation. There are some times when we do have issues with buses and the bus can't transport the student, but the parent or guardian has another way that they can get the student to and from school. We are able to reimburse them for that mileage. We do also provide appropriate support services, special education. Of course, all of our students in Colleton County get free lunch. We pay for school supplies, educational materials, hygiene products, clothing, shoes, and referrals to community agencies. We can also help with school fees, and we also offer after-school tutoring for our McKinney-Vento students. Okay, why McKinney-Vento students need services? Research shows that frequent school changes have a cumulative effect on students' achievement that can place them as much as a year behind their peers. So students who are highly mobile are more likely to be chronically absent. We said that before, get lower grades, have special education needs, score poorly on assessment tests, and even drop out of school. I try to work closely with our high school students because I want them to graduate. And a lot of them get so close and then they get frustrated and they don't want to push through. But I try to work with them and their school counselors, and we try to push them. And we've seen some successes, and we're proud of those successes. Okay, these are some of the things that we try to do to help our high school students work through, like credit accrual. Districts, and we have to have clear procedures in place to award full or partial credit for work completed from a previous district. So if they've done work, we can consult with the prior school to evaluate the work that they've completed there and give them that credit. In our district, evaluate the student's mastery of courses and award credits accordingly, offer credit recovery or mastery basis courses, and One of the things that we don't do anymore is the distance learning. We used to do the distance learning, but that has since gone away. So that is not an alternative, unfortunately. Okay, post-secondary education. Our unaccompanied youth, we assist them with their FAFSA. There is a letter or a verification letter that I complete for any students that are graduating and going on to post-secondary schools. The letter says that they have been identified as McKinney-Vento, so they are able to fill out their FAFSA on their own without parent or guardian being listed. They receive information about college readiness, college selection, applying for school, financial aid, on-campus supports. Some of the on-campus supports that we have come in contact with are some of the schools actually allow, once they know that the student is McKinney-Vento, they are allowed to stay on campus when the campus is closed because they have no place else to go. So we do have a few schools that allow them to stay like during Christmas break, Thanksgiving, when the campus or the dorms are usually closed, they allow those students to stay based on the fact that they are identified as McKinney-Vento. Duty as a liaison is to ensure that the students are identified through outreach and coordination activities, that they have full and equal opportunity to succeed, that the students have access to receive educational services that they are eligible for. So like preschool, coordinating with Head Start, making sure that those particular students, if they have a sibling who is in public schools, that we can possibly put them at the top of the waiting list for Head Start and pre-kindergarten. Ensure that families receive referrals to health, dental, mental, housing, and other appropriate services. So, just a few little scenarios. What do you think? Which of the following shared living arrangements would you consider homeless? Okay. William lived with his wife and three school-age children in Milwaukee. They just moved to Chicago because he received a promotion requiring him to move to where his company's home office is located. He and his family are staying with his brother for a couple of weeks until the house they rented is available for them to move into. So yes, no, need more information, not sure. What do you think about William and his family? I guess I could have put Walterboro and Charleston or something, but no, 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 no. Okay, I see lots of people saying no. So go to the next slide, and you are absolutely correct. Okay, based on what we know, William and his family are not homeless. While they are sharing housing with his brother, it is not due to the loss of housing, economic hardship, or a similar reason. Will and his family are staying with his brother due to the move based on a job promotion. So William and his family are not considered homeless or McKinney-Vento. Next. Okay, Marcia. Marcia's mom struggles with substance abuse. As a result, she often has strangers in the home and participates in activities that cause Marcia to feel anxious and unsafe. Eventually, Marcia comes to the conclusion that she would be safer living on her own. She ran away, swearing she would never live with her mom again. She is now crashing on the couch of an older friend that she met at the mall last week. So yes, no, more information, or not sure. Okay, next. Yes, I see a lot of yeses, and you are absolutely correct. Based on what we know, she is homeless. She would be considered an unaccompanied homeless youth. She left home because she felt physically and emotionally unsafe. She's sleeping on the couch of a friend she met at the mall last week. That would not qualify as a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. So she is a homeless, unaccompanied youth. Next. Okay, so these are some resources and contacts. There's a determining eligibility flow chart. You can just click on that chart and it kind of walks you through certain scenarios, yes and no, and it allows you to figure out if that student qualifies. Um, Determining the eligibility for unaccompanied youth. The South Carolina Department of Ed has their homeless liaison directory, and that's the link for that. The South Carolina Interagency Council on Homeless. I know you all know a lot about that. Um, I don't know why I have that list of McKinney-Vento account by county, but you can see that on one of the previous slides. And Schoolhouse Connection is very good. You can get great information from Schoolhouse Connection if you log on there. There's even a question answer section on Schoolhouse Connection where you can, if you're not sure about something, you can put the question in and it takes them a couple of days, but they'll actually answer the question for you.
Okay. Also, to everyone, this slide, I will be emailing you a copy of this slide, her resources and contact slide. You'll be getting an email from me after the training that's going to include a link for an evaluation and also the resource slide. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Okay, closing and key takeaways. Every student deserves school stability and support. Collaboration equals stronger outcomes, and early identification, prevents learning loss and trauma. And this is what we try to do, make sure all of our students have that stability, that we can collaborate with different agencies and organizations to connect our families to, so we can have those stronger outcomes and getting those families identified. Of course, everyone does not want to be identified, but those who do, we try to help them as best we can. Okay, questions that I may be able to
Time.
answer?
If you want to come off of mute or come on camera, to ask Tangela any questions you may have. Tangela, I had a question regarding the is it unaccompanied youth?
Unaccompanied youth?
So
Yes.
you said the age is kindergarten to 12th grade?
That is what we've been told. We always question that, but yes, I can't imagine a kindergartner being an unaccompanied youth, but I guess it does happen if they're having issues with the family, and I guess if they go live with a family friend, they would be considered an unaccompanied youth. If the family lost housing and just let the child go and stay with a particular friend or family, that student would be considered an unaccompanied youth.
Okay. And then one more question I have. Guys, please feel free to ask Tangela any question at this time. She is a big source of information for our state. So please feel free to ask any questions here or in the chat. Out of state. So we all work with clients that are transit. So we may have families coming from another state. So I know you
Uh-huh.
mentioned about birth certificate and then picking it up. What if somebody was from North Carolina? Would you guys still assist the family in obtaining that birth certificate for that child
If
later on
if
the
that
back?
student, if they are leaving North Carolina and coming here to our district to enroll, we can go online and we could, I've had that happen before too, but I just went online and helped the parent just to order the birth certificate to
Okay.
be mailed to her. And
Okay.
we actually paid for it.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my question is, if there's a youth and the parents not helping with getting the birth certificate, how would you, McKinney-Vento, step in and help get the birth certificate? If you go to the Department of Vital Records and they say you need this to get the birth certificate, certain documentation.
Okay. This is something that we have just started. I actually just heard about this last week at our conference that going forward, this is something that we are going to be able to do. They're supposed to be sending us some more information as to how we're going to do it. I think they're going to create some type of form or document that we are to take with us when we go and pick up the birth certificate. Is that something that you need, have a family that needs help with something like that now?
We have a client that we have encountered this situation before. Yeah.
Okay. Well, get back with me. I'm going to reach out to our state coordinator, and I have her information at the end of the slide as well. I'll reach out to her and find out when we plan to get that document, and then I can let you know going forward how I can assist. What
Okay, great.
county is it?
Charleston County.
Charleston County. Okay, so your contact in Charleston County would be Sonia Jones, who is awesome. Um, and then you can find her name and contact information on that liaisons list. So I would reach out to Sonia.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Lakeisha Dobson. I did have a question for you. I really appreciate your presentation.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I hate talking without the camera on, but I'm on my cell phone, so let me see if I can get it on. Um, but I wanted to just ask you a question for clarity. So I wanted to make sure I got it correct. The McKinney-Vento kids they're just displaced. They have, not just, but they're displaced, meaning they have access to light, water, running, utilities. Oftentimes that they do have access to those. How would we
Mm-hmm.
know, as far as correlation, as working together, will it be some type of way we can confirm like they are, once we do the intake, I guess we would be asking the families where they're living at, because I just wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
because for HUD, and I know the guideline is pretty much homeless, like outside, no
Mm-hmm.
access to running lights, running water. But oftentimes the McKinney-Vento families are just displaced, and they do have access to those things. Is that correct?
Right.
I think your percentage did say that, right?
Yes, a lot of them do have access to that, and that's only because they're living with other people who have permanent housing.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay,
but in those particular cases, like we said, those people can tell them tonight that you have to be gone, and
right,
so where are they going to go?
right.
So yeah, they do have access, but only because they're living with somebody
With
who
someone else, a
has
third
it.
party.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you so much, Ms. Green.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Great questions. Any more questions for Tangela? So
I have one more
everyone,
question.
oh, okay. Someone said
Okay.
something, Maggie?
Yes, I have a
Okay.
question.
Uh-huh.
What resources do you provide for the unaccompanied youth, especially the high school students, who may not have guidance from parents, as far as their rights as to get a job, seek medical care, and things like that? If they're not being guided by a parent, do you refer to a social worker, or what other services outside of the school do you refer to?
All of that. We actually have a social worker in the district, and the two of us work closely. So then we work closely also with the school counselor. So we kind of meet with the student, see what the needs are, and see what type of referrals we can do. Um, but we keep in close contact with our high school students who are unaccompanied. We check on them on a regular basis to find out, what's going on.
I
But
know it
yeah,
might be a little unusual, but do you have like an FAQ for those students where you have like resources that are easy access for specifically the unaccompanied youth?
Um, at this point, we really don't. What we do is, like I said, we just meet with those students and kind of find out what it is they need. But that's something that we may need to put in place for them. We just kind of keep up with them. And I guess because our caseload here in Colleton County is not as high as other districts and their caseloads, so we're usually able to keep up with those particular students. It's not that difficult just to find out where they are, what they're doing, what their needs are. So I
Ms.
think it's a little easier for us to maintain.
Thank you.
Ms. Green, can I help out with that as well? I'm
Sure,
Lakeisha Dobson. I'm
please.
actually a school social worker as well. I would advise one of the things that we did for our high school students in my county, well, in the last 1 or 2 schools that I did work in, we started pulling resources from various sites like DSS as far as Medicaid, because I did have to assist with about 2 or 3 students that didn't have a adult in the home like that. They were there, but not there. So it was almost like an unaccompanied student. So
Right.
student concern specialists assist with as far as the job and that end of it. But like she stated, Ms. Green stated, we all got together, and once we went through the process with one student, we just started collaborating the information. So because we knew we was going to experience it again, and so that way we was able to build and kind of like network moving forward with that. So it was something we was able to use once we experienced it the second time, which was like a couple of weeks later. It seemed like
Okay.
after we compiled information, everybody just started popping up with needing services. So it kind of worked out. So that would be my suggestion, just to if you could, if you got a team or any type of assistance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great
And
questions.
Ms. Burley Wright is our South Carolina Department of Education coordinator. We usually have to reach out to her when we have families who are not satisfied with the answers that they get from us. And so they want to take it a little further. So Burley is the coordinator for McKinney-Vento for the state of South Carolina.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Like I said earlier, there will be, first of all, I want to thank Tangela again. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you with us today and also allowing us to record. So, because this training, it will be ongoing annually, has been annually. So everyone here, again, please make sure that you use the group chat to sign in with your name and the name of your agency. Prior to the meeting, an email was sent with documents. So that list that Tangela mentioned, that has the list of the different liaisons for the counties, that's included. But if you did not receive an email, maybe from a manager or supervisor and someone just invited you to this training, please add your email in the group chat, okay? And then we ask that you complete our evaluation survey that will be included in that email as well. But before we leave, I have to share our HUD form with you, because if you are working with families that have children, this form was also in that attachment. This right here is our Low Country Continuum of Care team. And that was Lakeisha Dobson. She's actually our housing specialist on our Homeless Connection line. So she is great at what she does. I'm going to stop sharing here and pull up that form, because this is very, very important. This form is used. HUD is looking for this documentation when they're coming through to your agency and doing the monitoring. Okay. All right. So I am just going to pull that up quickly, but everyone should have received the form. But if you didn't, please, please, please just add your email in the group chat, and I may just still attach it with the evaluation email as well. Okay, so this is what the form looks like. That's our logo up there at the top to the right hand corner, but the school age child form. So this verifies that your housing program, if you're housing families with children, make sure that you are completing this form. Please share this form with your agency and case managers. And once you complete the form with your family, a lot of the agencies have like an intake process when the case manager is meeting with the families. Complete this form, very important, and then upload this form into the HMIS system. If you're an agency that's not utilizing HMIS, you can definitely reach out to myself or Marilena or even Karen. We're program managers with the Continuum. So please let me know if you have any, does anyone have any questions regarding this form? Okay. All right.
Hi, I have a question.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, I'm Clara from Young Mothers Together.
Claire.
My caseload consists of newborns to up to maybe 5 years old, maybe. So normally they're not in school, they're either in daycare, and I've seen the form before. So I normally do not have this in my file and it's not uploaded into HMIS. Do I still need to fill this form out? Because it
Yes, you
says
do.
school age.
Yeah, just make sure you complete this form if you are working with children. Okay. All
Okay.
right. We just want to make sure that we are in compliance with HUD guideline. You may not have to fill everything out if it's not a child that's actually in school, or maybe even the child haven't attended Head Start yet. Still complete this form and upload it into HMIS. Okay.
Okay.
Good
Okay.
question, Clara.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also, at the bottom of this form, we've added this link. We have updated the link, so the link does include the liaisons for your county. You guys will get this in that email also. Tangela's resource slide where you can just click on the link, but we've added to the form. So if you need to kind of verify who is your liaison, here's the link right here for you also. Okay. All right. At this time, I am going to stop the recording. Do we have any other questions? Do we have any other questions for Tangela?
Hello, I have a question.
Okay.
This is Yasmin, and I apologize. I was with a client earlier on, so if this was spoken about, I apologize, but it may be something you all can provide